Hey guys, it's Andrea and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to find your art style. And I think I already gave it away in the title. You literally can't. Let me explain. Trying to find an art style is like trying to find a personality. It's not something that you find, it's something that continuously develops over time. When we use language like find, we're making art style into a destination. It becomes a quest that we are in constant pursuit of to hopefully one day arrive in the land of art style. This mentality will have you stressed 100% of the time, especially our little precious art newbies. We must protect the art newbies at all costs. Now, what I hope to do in this video is shift your perception around art style, but also give you some tips and tricks that will help you and aid you on your journey to develop yourself as an artist. Now let's talk about the X's. Not to confuse with your X's, we're talking about the X's. The X's are the top two things that I prioritized when I was developing my unique art styles. And they are experience and experiments. Let's start off with experience. The best way that you can get more experience as an artist is to, well, create more art. In other words, consistency. Consistency alone will naturally improve your art over time. But if you're trying to fast track that journey, I highly recommend that you study the fundamentals. Getting a grasp on the bare bones of whatever it is that you create will always make your art better, even if you disregard those rules at the end. Understanding your medium, understanding your subject, understanding anatomy, understanding perspective, all of those things are going to make you a well-rounded artist and give you a lot more freedom to be able to communicate through your art versus being trapped within the bounds of your limitations. It's going to be really difficult for you to be able to create something that's in your head if you haven't learned how to observe it properly yet. One of the biggest frustrations I have as an artist is when I have something in my head and it's so beautiful and elaborate and everything that I could ever dream of, but these phalanges just can't make it come to life. And there's a gap between what I see in my head and what I actually get down on paper. The more you study and the more you understand those fundamentals, the smaller and smaller that gap will become. So no, the fundamentals aren't fun and sexy, but it's the foundation you can stand upon that will allow you to expand your scope of what it's possible for you to create. Here's a great exercise for you. What's something that you're really uncomfortable drawing right now and you will avoid it at all costs? For 1 week, I want you to warm up by drawing that thing 5 times. It can be thumbnails, it can be super loose, it can be gestures, but I want you to illustrate that thing that makes you super uncomfortable 5 times before you start working on any of your projects. In a week, I promise you, you will see a drastic difference in your illustration of that thing, because whatever it is will be a lot less scary because you have been consistently drawing that thing. Even though it wasn't fun and you didn't like it, you're going to start to get comfortable, and that's going to make you confident, and you're going to start understanding things and seeing things that you didn't necessarily observe the first time. So the first thing I'm thinking of for all of you who also draw people out there, them hands, okay? Stop tucking the characters' hands behind their backs like they're common criminals. But to boil it down, just like anything else, experience brings clarity. The more you do something, the more comfortable you get, the more confident you get, and naturally you'll become better at that thing. And another thing about being confident and comfortable with your art is that you will start to find shortcuts or more efficient ways of doing things, and that will contribute to you creating a unique, identifiable style. There are certain things that I do that make it easier for me, but also adds to the characteristics of my work. Now let's talk about experiments. This is where you play. This is where you start playing with different techniques, styles, mediums, you name it. Anything in this creative space is your playground. Experiments is where the growth happens. My art wife Sheena from She Meets City recommended, probably on our very first conversation, the book Steal Like an Artist. And if you are an artist and you haven't read this book, I definitely recommend that you go and grab that, because it will definitely help you shift your mindset on how to gather the different components of the greats before you to create a unique style that is just for you. I feel like most artists fall into one of two camps during those early stages. You're either tracing, or you're trying to be so unique and different that it ends up being not exactly what you imagine. Both of these are okay. They're okay. These are the stages where you are learning, you are growing, you're trying to understand what it is that you like. The issue becomes is when you stay in these places and you don't ever evolve and try different things to develop your own sensibility as an artist. Still Like an Artist is going to help you mold yourself and find the things that you like and be able to modify those things and kind of create a composite from from different styles to create something that's unique to you. I think we've all seen artists who are heavily influenced by another artist, and you can see that they're trying to emulate their style and literally draw exactly like somebody else. The issue is it never comes out the same, because like a personality, you can try and act like somebody else, but at the core, you are still who you are. So even though you can try and draw exactly like somebody, you're not them. So there's going to be nuances just from the physicality of your own hand. Literally, you just can't do what someone else's hand does. No matter how good you are at drawing like Loish, Loish will always be better at drawing like Loish than you. Still, like an artist allows you to take little bits of other people's style and create this entire melting pot of inspiration and influence, where it becomes so different and transformed that it is no longer them, it is all you. You can take inspiration from creators of all different fields. I have incorporated things into my style from concert set designers, from interior designers, from florists. It doesn't have to be just taking bits and pieces from other artists. You can get inspired by creators around you in any industry, and that's going to further differentiate you and create a style that is curated based off of your likes from all across the different aspects of you. We as people are multifaceted, so if you're taking bits and bobs from all the different parts of you and putting it together into your art, it's going to stand out without you having to try to put effort in to be different. And I'm going to let you in on another little secret about art style. You can have more than one. There's like this unspoken rule, and I know I'm not the only one that felt this, especially when I started out, that I needed to have one unique style that when you look at it, you just know Andrea made that. And I agree that it's great to have an art style that is identifiable as you, especially if you're trying to brand yourself and create an identity as an artist in the industry. But you are a creative individual who likes to probably make more than just one kind of art. As you can see here, these are all things that I have created, and they're all in very different art styles. And you can still look at them and see that they're me because I made them. So even though they're expressed in different ways, sometimes I'm using more color, I'm using different brushes, I'm using different subject matter, I'm incorporating different kinds of techniques. But at the end of the day, it's still created by me from my perspective and my point of view, and that comes across in my art. And I share all of these on my platform, and people take what they want from it. I don't have to limit myself based off of one way that I want people to perceive me. If that is something that you are interested in, then I definitely say pursue that. But if you are somebody who's like, I have so many different ways that I like to draw, I don't want to pick one. Well, like my good sis Cardi said, you don't gotta choose. But you don't have to take it from me. I'm the new kid on the block. Let's take it all the way back to the 1930s with our friend Salvador Dali. Y'all know Salvador Dali, the Spanish painter, the persistence of memory, the melting clocks. That's probably one of his most identifiable pieces if you're not familiar with his work. That was almost 100 years ago, and we're still talking about it today. Dali was a surrealist legend. But some of you may be surprised that Dali actually started with Impressionism as a young kid, because that was what was popping at the time, and Surrealism didn't even exist yet. And then he transitioned from Impressionism into Cubism, which was basically a precursor for Surrealism. And the flex doesn't stop there. He would even give the girlies a little realism from time to time. If you ever look at his full body of work, which I recommend that you do, you will see his journey through his art career. As Devlin put it, you can literally see him trying on different versions of himself through his art. And the sum of all of his creations equals the Salvador Dali. It's not one piece that makes you who you are. It's the sum of all the pieces that you love, the pieces that you hate, the pieces that never see the light of day. The sum of all the pieces creates your style. So all you have to do is keep creating and keep trying, and you will develop into the artist you are meant to be. For instance, look at this. Can anyone guess who made this? It's Andy Warhol. It's not giving Campbell's soup. It's not giving pop art. This is where he started. He started in marketing, doing hand-drawn ads for magazines. But he needed to do this to be able to do this. And the sum of all the parts equals the Andy Warhol that we know, love, and study today. So all those crumpled up pieces of paper in your trash basket, or all those times you wanted to throw your iPad out the window or kick your foot through the canvas, this is not for nothing. You are developing your art style every time you pick up that pencil, that brush, that clay, whatever it is that you use to express yourself. You are developing as an artist. So here's what I want you to do. Now that you have one in mind, I want you to go and look at as much of their work over the longest period of time that you can possibly find. Find as much as you can from their early work up to their current work. I want you to look at the journey. I want you to study the influence to see what parts of what they used to do when they first started carry on till now. What did they leave behind? I want you to study this. And then I want you to look at your own bodies of work. I want you to go back to when you first started working on art. What were you drawing? What colors were you using? What medium were you using? And I want you to compare it to where you are today. And that's where you are going to start to identify what are the things that you are editing and adding to create the recipe for your own sauce. That's all it is. It's the evolution of you. Your art style is just the evolution of you. You don't have to find it. You are it. Enjoy the journey. And I hope that this video has inspired you to just keep creating. Your art style will grow and change and be fluid for the rest of your life. It is not a fixed state. It is not some place that you can arrive. It is not something you can hold in your hand. So enjoy what you are creating now. Be proud of the journey that you've already been on and be excited and hopeful for what is to come. Feel free to look on my Instagram, go back. You can see a huge evolution. There are times where it looked the same for a long period of time, and there's times where it looked completely different from day to day. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the journey that I've been on, and I'm excited to see where I'm headed. For those of you who don't know, I actually just launched a Patreon this month, and I'm going to have all my patrons do a couple of exercises so that they can look at their own art style and figure out the things that make them unique and feel good and confident about their own art. So if that sounds like something you would enjoy or you want to be a part of the community, the link is down below. If you have any other questions, definitely feel free to ask. Thank you guys for rocking with me for this whole video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I want you to know I love your style. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.